Hi, welcome to Yarniesville. My name is Kim, also known as Yarning for a Smile, and this is a knitting vlog. So, if you are a new viewer, thank you for coming and checking out my little corner of YouTube. There is a lot of other vloggers out there, and I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and watch one of my videos. Part of this series that I'm going to be uploading is going to be called my knitting journal because that's what my vlog is all about. And this is journal entry number 2. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. My goals for this channel are for it to grow and build a fun community of knitters and crocheters who just share in the love of yarn with me and projects. A little update on the channel. I have basically given up trying to get my old channel back of 14 years. There's a video explaining what happened. I'm not gonna get into it anymore because I'm basically just washing my hands of it, only focusing on moving forward and really building up this channel to have some great content, have some future giveaways, and a whole lot of fun. So I really hope that you join me on this journey. I do want to give a shout out to Gina from the Knitting Turnpike. She had a live and she gave this new channel a shout out. I've known Gina for so long, way before she even started her YouTube channel. And I really appreciate her doing that to her followers and letting me know, hey, Kim's channel was taken down. Please go give her a follow, because I had a lot of followers and I had a lot of watch hours, and now I'm starting over with hardly anything. And when YouTube takes down your channel, you lose everything. Every one of your personal subscribers to your channel and every channel that you subscribe to are all gone. All your videos gone. You cannot access any of your content whatsoever. It's just like it's never been there. And so, as much as it is frustrating, I think it's a door opening for me to push me to create better content and to get to really know my community, you guys. So I really hope you grab a cup of coffee or favorite beverage, grab your project, and let's see what's been going on in my little corner of the world. Currently, I only have one thing I'm actively working on. So the project I'm actually actively working on is my Desert Vista Dye Work Sock of the Month cowl. And these are a pair of just plain vanilla sock, no frills, toe up with a fish lips kiss heel on 2 at a time. So I am using Hiya Sharp in the size 1, US 1, 2.25, and I'm using 24 inches because I found that is a happy size for me for 2 at a time. The 20-inch were too small, and obviously a 32-inch would be way too big. But this is like the perfect happy medium for me. They're going really well. I really like to get these off my needles before Monday so I can have the whole last week of the month for whips. So the colorway that I'm using is called DIY Cream Eggs. And again, this is from Desert Vista Dye Works. Desert Vista Dye Works. And this is her Visio base, which is a 75% superwash, 25% nylon, 462 yards. And this is DIY Cream Egg, which looks like this. And basically, it's her interpretation of the ever so delicious Cadbury eggs, which have been kind of ironically hard to find this season. And it's sad. And I do enjoy them. I know a lot of people don't like them. I don't like the funky flavors that they have these days. I just like the plain, original, OG Cadbury eggs. But they're very sweet. So if you're not in the US and you don't know about Cadbury eggs, they are these things. And they are put out every year around Easter. And it's like a chocolate exterior eggshell with this white, gooey, sugary goodness. And the white looks like egg white. And then in the inside, it has like a yellow looking yolk when you bite into them like a gooey egg. Hence the DIY cream egg socks. But these have been a lot of fun to knit just because stripy socks to me are potato chip knitting in the sense that like I get done with one stripe and I want to do one more stripe and then I want to do another stripe just to get done with a stripe. So I started these on the 1st, and it's a basic fish lips kiss heel toe up sock. I usually do my leg of my sock, so when I fold it over it goes to about here, and then I do a couple inches of ribbing. So that way the whole sock, when folded over, just leaves a little bit of toe sticking out. And that's a comfortable sock for me. So I don't have much more to go, a couple more repeats, and then I get to start the ribbing. So my goal is to get these off the needle by Monday. And the reason I want to get these off the needles by Monday is because I would like to focus on whips. So let's talk about some finished objects. I do have a couple of finished objects so far for this month, really only 3. Most of my time has been trying to get back my channel, and one of the reasons why I'm just letting that go. So first, I finished another resock for my future sock garland, and I'm knitting all of these out of the Desert Vista yarn that I'm using for the year-long sock cowl. After each month's sock, I'm basically knitting a little sock, and at the end of the year, I'll put these all on decorative garland for my house. It's a great way to use scraps, and it's adorable. The next finished object was I did complete another barn raising square, and both of these are the Desert Vista dye work Visio base, but this one's called Ides of March because this is the yarn I use for my March socks. But this is the barn raising square. So the way that I make my barn raising squares is I actually start with a crochet magic ring, and then I go around and crochet 6 single crochet, but I'll leave them on the hook, and then I transfer those to the needles, and then I start knitting, and that way I can pull my center completely closed, and it makes a really nice center without a hole. This yarn is just really pretty. These are super fun to make. They go by so fast, and eventually they will be a blanket. The other thing I finished this month was my April gnome. So I chose to do all work in gnome play, which is a pattern by Imagine Landscapes for her hashtag Year of Gnomes. And this month entry, I went with this a lovely doll. So this is Gronin, and I am calling her the Rabbit Keeper. On my project page that I will link in the show notes, I have her little story, and I'll go ahead and read it to you. It says, "There is nothing but work for Gronin, especially in the spring when she has to search the gardens for the wee rabbits who get left out in harm's way. Gronin spends all day running around collecting the young rabbits and bringing back to her home where she tends to them till they are big enough to run around in the gardens and hide eggs the next season to make girls and boys happy everywhere." So she is made out of a mixture of worsted weight and DK weight scraps, basically. Her hat, I did actually buy this skein from Hobby Lobby. It is part of their Artisans hand-dyed series that they started carrying. It's only $14. It's actually not really bad yarn for $14, but it's like this lovely lime color, and I think the colorway is actually called lime. Her body is from hedgehog fibers, and it is monarch, and then all of her bits, like her hair and her purple and the gray, are from leftover knitted wit jawbreakers, and it was from a kit of ornaments that I did, and that green is just some leftover green. So what I did was I found these cute little rabbits at Hobby Lobby. This one was actually in the jewelry making section, and this one was back in the dollhouse making section. And so I made her a baby sling, and so she's carrying around her little baby rabbit as she finds them. I was a baby wearing mama when my kids were little, and I know how much of a bonding experience that is, and I wanted her to have that with her rabbits that she takes care of, and I think she just turned out fabulous. Her nose is also from that Jawbreakers kit, and she has her mittens, and she's holding her baby. I also added the leaves. That's not part of the pattern, but I just felt like springtime she needed some leaves. Her hair is actually cable knit. It's not braided, just some cables. And the pattern does not come with a mommy sling. That's just something that I created to use up the rest of that purple. In total on her, I only used 106 yards. She was a very fast knit and a great way to get rid of some scrap. I do have one more FO, but I can't show it to you as far as physically because it has already been sent back to the dyer. It was a sample knit for Comfort out of her sparkle base in the raspberry ice colorway, and it was the Storm Shawl by Hoey Locatelli. And I can insert some photos here. Thanks to the modern day technologies. So let's talk whips. To work on whips or to cast on something new. I think that is the epitome of every knitter and crocheter's life, because the whips are always there yelling at us, finish me or rip me out and reuse the yarn. But then all the yarn is like, cast me on and pick out a new pattern, which is kind of what's happening right now. So I'm going to show you some of the whips I have going on. I'm going to actually show you all the whips I have going. Whips actually make me bonkers. I'm not a complete monogamous knitter, but I do not like to look at my Ravelry page and see a bunch of whips going across. Because I keep up with all my patterns on Ravelry, each time I open it, that's what I see. And it's like they're the bane of my existence. But I also am someone who really likes to finish what they start. So it's a battle. It's a huge battle for me. So I thought it'd be interesting if I just show you my parade of whips. So here we go. The oldest whip I have is my Cozy Memories blanket. And I actually showed this on journal entry number 1, and I haven't knit a single thing on it since then. But for all you new viewers, this is my Cozy Memories blanket. And this is basically a mitered square blanket, and it was written by Shelley King. I started this in 2015, but this is what I consider one of my long-term projects. So my projects basically have two categories. They're either long-term, as in long-term, are there current, or they could be like a half long-term, which is like just to complete in a year. This is a long-term because anytime I use something in fingering weight yarn, I add a square to this blanket. Also, someone sends me yarn and they let me know what project they used it in. I actually link it on my Ravelry page, which I will link down below in the information. And so it's literally just a blanket of memories of projects. And the way I'm making mine, if you can see, is that all my decreases form diamonds. So they're not all going in the same way, and that's completely intentional because I want those diamond shapes to appear because I just think it's beautiful. And it's so much fun to see all these yarns because this was like my first pair of socks. So it's just a lot of fun doing this. And it's something that I really don't work on enough, but I do participate in hashtag Scrappy Sunday. So hashtag Scrappy Sunday is a social media hashtag, and basically on Sunday you work on scrappy projects. So it would be something like this, or barn raising squares like this, or we sock cow, anything that's going to use scraps. And it's part of the Scrappy Sunday. You use the hashtag and you share it online so others can see, inspire them to use their scraps. So that is my oldest work in progress. My next oldest whip has been around since 2016. And that is my Sophie's Universe. So it's kind of hard to get all of it on screen. I haven't touched this in years, but I want this because it's so happy. I'm probably not going to make it an actual blanket size. I don't know. I may go through and make it a blanket size, but I may just make it big enough to like make a big wall hanging like a tapestry to eventually one day hang in a she shed when I get it. But it's really pretty and it's really fun. And probably my favorite part of this thing is this section here. I just love how the stripes look coming off of the triangle. But this thing uses a lot of yarn. So this is all worsted weight and this is all acrylic. And I chose acrylic because I want it to be something that I can just throw in the washer and in the dryer. And a lot of this is vintage yarn, like this stuff here. I don't even know where this came from. Or this purple is super old Red Heart. And then some of this is I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby, but I just really love the colorful happiness of it. But to keep up with all the yarn, I had to create a crocheted basket, basically, big enough to hold all of its yarns. This is the only amount of Red Heart yarns that I have left. Everything else I've gotten rid of. I do have some, I love this yarn, in totes in my closet, but this bag I actually lined, and it's just been a really great bag to keep up with all this yarn because it's pretty sturdy and it's huge. But I really need to work on this so I can get it done. But I'm on row 71, and I think there's like 100 and something rows. So that's definitely a long-term project, and it's becoming summer here in Alabama, which ironically in the summer I'm more likely to knit on this because we have the AC blasting and I get colds because of thyroid issues. I'm constantly hot or cold and I can get it done. This pattern is by Dyers. I don't know how to say her name, to be honest with you, but I'll link it because they're a great way to learn some crochet techniques because she does have a video series where she walks you through how to make the whole blanket. My next oldest, a baby blanket that I actually started when we were going to try for baby number 3 and going through fertility treatments. That did not work out for us, and to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I have not touched this blanket. I made a bunch of baby things because they made it seem like it was really possible, and they really had our hopes up. But then we discovered how bad my thyroid was and that it's not possible at all. And I'm very blessed to have the children, the 2 boys that we have. But I've decided to keep going because I want to finish this to put it in the bag. So I have a bag of things that I'm making knitting crochet that I started making for possible baby, but now it's just going to be things to put up so when my kids get older and they have children of their own or have grandchildren, then I can have something to give them if I am at a point where I can no longer knit or crochet. Or if something happens to me before then, I want to have something for my future grandbabies, and great grandbabies. So that's why I'm making some of these things to put up so they can be passed down. But this is using Line Brands ice cream yarns. This is also an acrylic yarn. It's a weight number 3, a DK, and I'm using color lemon meringue, blueberry, bonnet, and lemon swirl. And it's a lot of picking up stitches. So basically you start in the center and then you have to pick up stitches for this triangle and then this one and then this one and this one, and then you pick up stitches for these 4 triangles. Then you pick up stitches for these 4 triangles, and then you have to pick up stitches for the border, and I have to seam the borders together. So I only have 2 more borders to go, and this is probably the next whip that I'm going to really focus on the last week of this month to get this off the needle, since it's one of the longest standing whips I have. And that pattern is actually in this little Leisure Arts pamphlet, booklet, however you want to call it, I don't know. And it's called Ice Cream Baby Afghans, and it has a bunch of different little blankets for you to knit. That one, the one I'm doing, Triangle Squared. Sent this book from Lion Brand to kind of look through and make sure there are no errors, and I found errors. So there is a errata for this book. I think it can be found on Ravelry and on their website. But this little book retails $6 in the US and $8 in Canada. And the pattern. So those are the all pre-2020 COVID whips, which are really not that bad when you think about it, if that's all I have. But then during COVID, I went on a casting rampage and I got it bad. So I cast on Breathe Hope shawl, and this is in a Bags by Awesome Greenie bag, and my baby blanket's also in a Bags by Awesome Greenie bag. And Darlene makes these amazing huge bags. They're just wonderful. This is her chic one. So Breathe Hope shawl is going to be the second focus for me as far as getting projects off the needles. And my Breathe Hope shawl has a bit of a design element. So if you are unaware and you make a mistake, we don't call those mistakes in knitting and crochet, especially if it's repeated. It's called a design element. And my design element happened at the very beginning. So I don't know what I was doing, but if you look at the Breathe Hope shawl, everybody else's, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't have as many of these slip stitches rows, but I liked it, so I ran with it. And that's basically what I'm doing in every section of that. But these yarns I am using are Apple Fiber Studio, and I'm using Partly Cloudy, which is yellow gray color, and then New Jeans, which is the navy blue. So I have these in this like little 2 at a time bag, and it's kind of cool. It zips up and it has holes, and basically you just turn the bag as you go around. But the problem is it has a zipper and everything gets caught on the zipper. But this is Partly Cloudy, and this is New Jeans. So there, turn on so you can kind of see side by side. They're very pretty. And this yarn actually has a little bit of alpaca in it. So it is their Macintosh base, which is sock fingering. 20% superfine alpaca, 50% merino, and 20% nylon. I mean, it's going to be a gorgeous shawl. And like I said, I definitely want to get it done. And it looks like I have a lot of knitting done on it, but I really don't. I do have some puckering, but I know that will block out, and that's just because of all the slip stitches. And I've been very careful to make sure that I am doing those at a very relaxed gauge, so that way when it does block, it won't be a problem. The next thing I cast on during my cast-on-initis attack was a pair of socks. So I started these before I knew that I was going to be knitting, or before I decided to do the Desert Vista dye work sock cowl. I'm not knitting 2 pair of socks a month. I'm not a sock person, to be quite honest with you. I have a whole lot of socks I've knitted, and I've never worn them but maybe one time. But I like knitting them, so it's okay. But this is some really fun yarn. We used to have a local yarn store and it was an amazing yarn store, and it went out of business and it broke my heart. But I got this there. It's Amsterdam Step 6, and it is a sport weight yarn from Germany, and it's 150 grams, 75% superwash, 25% polyamide, and it's in this colorway called Autumn, but it's really, really pretty. So I started these socks in autumn, and I'm knitting these on a US 2 since it is sport weight yarn, DPNs. This is also before I started 2 at a time, and I've learned that I really like 2 at a time because I don't have second sock syndrome, so that may be something I do from now on. But I've got a toe, and I've got part of a foot, and these would actually go really fast, but they're not my number one priority. I want to get those other 2 things done first, and then I'm going to focus on these. But I do have my adorable Simply Serving toast and egg and bacon stitch marker on there, and these are just living in a bag that I made along with the matching needle cozy. Really nice soft yarn, and it's thick. They're gonna be nice and warm if I ever wear socks. Which is funny because Desert Vista Dye Works, the owner, she doesn't wear socks either, and she has like 200 and something pair of socks that she knitted. The next thing I cast on is the baby vertebrae, and I'm not going to really show this because I showed this on my journal entry number 1 video, but it's just out of some Matosh Pashmina, and this is I'm making this for that baby bag to put up, and I haven't really touched that either, but I will link that down in the notes below. Another work in progress I showed during the first journal entry was the Close to You shawl, which I'm making in memory of my friend. Not going to go into a lot of detail because I've talked about that before, but as you can see, it has not grown. And the baby vertebrae and the Close to You I cast on this year. I also cast on this Friendly Annie deer. This is a pattern by a Ukrainian designer, and I think I showed this in journal entry 1 as well, and I haven't got past the legs, but it's going to be cute when it gets done. One day. Another 2020 cast on was the Romy Hill mystery shawl. So I'm really bad about starting her mystery shawls and then not finish them for like 2 years. It happened with the last one and this one. And actually the last one I did with Gina, and I started this one with Gina as well from A Knitting Turnpike. But then I just get distracted by all the pretty. And I love this yarn and I love how it's looking. But it's just kind of one of the things. I think I talked about this in journal entry 1. I might not have actually, but I've gotten pretty far on this. So this was a mystery knit along. Since then it's been named because it was started 2 years ago, and it's called April Song, and this will all be blocked, and it's lace. You can kind of see the lace there. Got this really pretty spine, and I really like this flower thing it's got going on at the very top. This yarn is from Kim Dyes Yarn, and here's her shop name. So this colorway is called Big, and it's just a gorgeous blue with all these rests in there. For my secondary color, I chose this, which is called Dill Chip, and it's kind of like a mustardy green. That's actually making it a lot brighter than it really is in real life. It's more a rusted patina greenish brown, but it looks gorgeous with the little specks of that greenish color right there and those browns. As far as where I am in the pattern, I just finished part of chart E, and so once I get those other 2, this is going to be my focus to get off my needles. So that's really, besides the wee sock garland and the barn raising, all my whips, because I don't like having a lot of whips. So now let's look at things that I've acquired. So since I've last chatted, I haven't really gotten that much because I'm really on a yarn buying diet. No reason why, but I occasionally, so I was on a yarn buying diet, moment of realism. And I talked about this in journal entry 1, but things happen. And so I knit this sample for Knit for Comfort that I talked about earlier that I inserted the photos. Gave me some credit to her shop. So I ordered some yarn that unfortunately is not here yet, but I did get something from her that she's sending for me to give away for you guys. So I will be giving more details on that later. But also I got a couple other things. So this is really not knitting per se related, but it is. If you have a local Target, you need to go check out their dollar spot. These little bins are $5, and it's a wash bucket, and it even has a drainage hole. So this is the perfect size for blocking hand knits. Not sweaters, but as far as shawls or socks. I have actually a smaller one of these that does not have a drain hole that I use for mitts and socks, but this is a perfect shawl size. But it's just adorable, and it's $5. And it's a great size. So, highly encourage you to check out your local Target for one of those. The next thing I got was I saw that Simply Serving had some pre-orders up for some Harry Potter charms, stitch markers, and I really love Harry Potter, so I had to pre-order. And she sends her little things in these adorable little boxes, and Lindsay makes the cutest charms. She's the only charms I really buy these days because they're just adorable. So this is the Butterbeer, and it has the little Harry Potter scar on it, and it's just so cute. So I was super excited to get that. So another thing I purchased this month was a skein of yarn from Pencil and String. Pencil and String is an Etsy store, and it's ran by Danielle and Heather. And they are either sisters or friends, but Danielle also has a YouTube channel, Novel Knits, and I will link that below. But when you order from them, they send you this cute little card with a little pencil attached because it's pencil and string. Like, don't you just love it? It's little things like that that make me smile, and I'm super excited that I found them and I ordered from them because when I opened up the package and saw the little pencil and the string, it just made me giggle. But it's pencil and string. Here's their card. Here's the back of it. That's their Etsy store. So what I ordered was this really gorgeous skein of superwash MCN sock. It's 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and 10% cashmere. 452 yards and 100 grams. And the colorway is called Autumn Farm Stand. And it is just gorgeous. It's not really as bright. I think having that window all the way open is just letting too much light in. But it's really pretty, and it has all these colors, and because that cashmere is just super soft. But look at all the specs if you check them out, and that's Pencil and String by Novel Knits Danielle. The other thing that I got is, again, kind of knitting related because I got me some Crocs, and they're clear translucent Crocs, and the reason I got these is so in the fall when I wear, because I'm really going to wear my hand knit socks, I'm really going to get some use out of them, and I'm going to wear them. As when I wear them, you can actually see them. So these are actually men's. On Crocs website right now, these are on sale for $27. It's pretty awesome. And if you sign up, if you go to the website, sign up, then they'll send you a coupon for 15% off, I think even with discounted shipping. And so you just go back and buy your shoes. But these are men's, and they're the translucent clog, but they're going to be so much fun to wear with my hand knit socks. And if you have any other great shoe ideas to wear with hand knit socks, please let me know, especially if it's in a men's shoe, because again, I wear women's 13, and it's hard to find any cute shoes and women's that fit my feet. I really would like some clear boots, but I know that's about impossible. Do have some questions for you. I would love if you would leave me a comment below if you like the content that I'm putting out, and what kind of videos would you like to see? Any kind of feedback would be greatly appreciated. So I have a couple of things that I have wrote down that I hope to be getting out over the next month, and my goal for this channel is to release a video a week for you guys, at least. So that's all I really have for you guys today. I want to say thank you for watching and for hanging out with me. I really hope you decide to come back and visit my channel again. I really love it if you become a subscriber just by hitting that subscribe button. You can click the bell for notifications and help me create this fun community and let me get to know you by introducing yourself below. Again, thank you for joining, and I hope you have a great day.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?